Welcome to Positively Muskegon. It's Andy O'Reilly, and I am out in OV country. That's right, we're talking Cardinal country. We are out here today. It is, it's one of these kind of stories. It's a feel-good thing, but it's also a necessity thing because, believe it or not, food insecurity is not just an inner city type thing. It's one of these deals where the kids' food basket of Muskegon and Kent County and everything else, they've grown their reach a little bit, and Orchard View is one of the schools that they're now serving, especially with the early elementary kids. I have got Angel from Kids Food Basket here. Remind me, Heather. Brandy. Heather. I was going to call you Mary. I don't know why. Mary McDonald. You know why? I know why. It's my grandma's name, Mary McDonald. But thank you for taking a couple of minutes today to talk a little bit about Kids Food Basket. Let's start with you on the end, Angel. Give us the elevator speech. Everybody knows Kids Food Basket, but they don't know the ins and outs of everything about it. Talk a little bit about Kids Food Basket.
So Kids Food Basket started in 2002. There was a school in Grand Rapids. One of the principals saw a little girl going through the garbage can, putting food in her pockets, and came to our founder, Mary Kay Hood, and said, "What can we do?"
Yeah.
So it started out with 125 students, and it has grown. Fast forward to now, we're in 3 locations, Muskegon and Holland, and all 3 locations were collectively serving over 8,000 students each weekday.
8,000 kids.
Yep.
That are considered food insecure.
Yes, and on top of that number, there are 30 elementary schools in West Michigan that are still on our waiting list. So there's a huge need. We're barely even touching it. And we do focus just on elementary students.
Sure.
We know middle school and high school students are also food insecure, but looking at the statistics, talking to teachers, we know that's when the kids are developing. That's when we need to get to them early, educate them about healthy food choices, but also, let them know that healthy food isn't just a right, it's a privilege to them. So in Muskegon right now, we're, as of today, serving over 1,200 kids in Muskegon alone, and we know in Muskegon there's 58% again of kids in Muskegon County who are qualifying for free breakfast and free lunch that we still haven't gone into their schools.
58% of kids in Muskegon. Now, and this is one of these things where you hear about the inner city kids that are without, and you hear about some of the really super rural communities that are without. I had a daughter that taught up in Lake County. And I think every kid there was on an assisted meal type program for a while, and it's just staggering to think that these kids go home to nothing.
Yeah.
And that's where you fill the gap.
Yes. Yeah. And if you've ever been on our website or been into one of our locations, you'll see a hunger map. And that hunger map, you'll see schools all the way into Whitehall, Reese Puffer School District, North Muskegon, down to Fruitport School District. But if you extend that map, we get calls monthly from Newaygo County, Grant, Ferrysburg. The need in West Michigan, there is a huge need. And, we're lucky to be a small part of these children's lives, but there's a lot of amazing administrative people, staff members, teachers, community members, community organizations that all have come together and really helped these children out.
Let's talk about this at the school level. You guys are principals of the elementary school. Congratulations. That's a tough row to hoe. Any way you look at it. I remember my elementary days. Personally, I was a saint. You guys would have loved me.
I'm sure we believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with that.
With your kids, do you see the day in and day out effects of this food insecurity with these guys?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cardinal Elementary has had Kids Food Basket for a little over a year now.
Okay.
We started it, and since we have started, we have seen a decline in a lot of our end of the day behaviors. We used to have a lot of kids who would hide food in their desk or bring leftover food from breakfast and lunch and hide it in their desks and lockers to bring home, and we don't see nearly as much of that as we used to see. And it's just so nice to know that our kids who are getting breakfast and lunch at school also are able to take something home. We know that for a fact that they're getting those 3 meals a day, and I think that takes a lot of stress off the kids, and I know that it takes a lot of stress off of a lot of our parents.
It's hard. Because you got a lot of things that play into this kind of food insecurity type thing, because nobody really wants to admit they need help.
Exactly.
And then it becomes a generational thing, because the parents don't really want to admit they need help. The kids see that, and then they that's going to carry on. And it's really about community, and especially with the kids' food basket, because anybody can help
Yes.
with the kids' food basket. Talk about your point of view.
Well, we are fortunate enough to be the newest school that has joined Kids Food Basket. We are now in our second week of it.
Second week.
Yep. But I will tell you, Andy, in school, if you've ever witnessed when you have to have like indoor recess, and you've heard like an announcement where they'll say, sorry, the wind chill's too cold, we have to stay indoors for recess today, you can almost hear the sigh in the school from the classrooms come out. When we announced to the kids that what we were going to take part in Kids Food Basket, we let them all decorate a bag, explain the concept to them, that they would be bringing home a bag, sack supper home with them, how to get their parents to sign the paper so they could sign up. You wouldn't believe the kids that went, yes, we
Really?
get this every day. Like they're so excited about it. They come down, they're excited about the decorated bags. They're excited that worry doesn't have to be there, that they get to bring the food home. And I want to make it clear that it's not because we have families that aren't working, trying to work, making ends meet. We have a very huge sense of pride in our district. So I just think it's just one more hurdle that we take away to help the families out.
And I agree with the pride and the hard work and everything like that. And I've said it over and all. I don't know anybody, myself, my wife, who's a teacher as well, I don't know anybody in Muskegon that doesn't have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
We all have to pedal harder, and we all have to, pick up. She's out. She's a teacher. She does ship shops on weekends.
Yeah.
Just so she can have a little extra money and things like that. We're not poor, we're not destitute, any of this kind of stuff, but that's where the extras come from. And that's what everybody's facing here.
Well, and the cost of living continues to go up.
No.
And this is a proud community and a hardworking community.
Very hardworking
And-
community.
And a lot of people, when we first started with Kids Food Basket, were like, no, there's greater need than our kids. But no, there isn't. Your kids are important too, and
Yeah.
we need to make sure that we are helping to support our families and our students so that they're ready to be successful when they're at school.
And that's where the future lies, is the kids. It's
Yeah.
so important. We do what we can to cover as many kid stories as we can from everywhere we can, but if it gets down to the fact that these kids aren't even getting that third meal a day, all the rah-rah and hoopla and everything we can do doesn't really, we got to follow through on that,
I'm sure that Heather's noticed at her building too, students would come in much hungrier before for
Yes.
breakfast,
Yeah.
so you could tell
Right.
they were hungrier at breakfast time, and we're noticing they're not coming in as
Right.
hungry now, so
Right.
that's a bonus as well.
And before Kids Food Basket, we have an amazing staff.
Sure.
And we had teachers that were regularly packing up bags of food and sending it home with kids.
Yeah.
And knowing that this also eases the load for our staff a little bit. And they also can rest easy knowing that when the kids go home, they have something to eat.
That's another thing people don't think about teachers as well, is the personal commitment that they make to making sure that the kids get what they, especially the little ones.
I
you
was
know?
surprised when we volunteered at Kids Food Basket, the amount of volunteers that they had
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
retired teachers and administrators. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a big, big deal.
And a great place to volunteer.
It really is. Yeah. How can people get involved?
There's multiple ways. We have a volunteer hub. Each volunteer makes a profile, and they have access to our calendar, so they can see the spots that are needed to be filled. Since we've taken on early elementary, our sack supper production has gone up. We're at 24% increase. So the need for volunteers is huge right now. Drivers is a big thing. We have Wednesday evening nights throughout the month, Saturday morning sessions, but mostly from 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. is where our bulk of our
It's a
sessions
big production line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can volunteer, like I was saying, on site, but there are off site opportunities. If those times don't work for you, we have trail mix projects. People make trail mix. That is a big staple in our menu. It's something the kids love. We have sack supper packs. So supper packs, because of last week, came in very handy. This is something that we keep in the back. They're food temperature secured. We have 2 different lists, and they can make those. And when this happened, we were able to pull those right off our shelf. We added any other fruits or veggies we had on hand, and so that way children are able to get fed, whether it's a snow day, if flu season hits,
Sure.
things like that. You never know. So that's our backup. And then bag decorating, that's on-site or off-site. In Muskegon, we have not sent out undecorated bags since summer 2017.
That's awesome.
And we were just talking about how the kids that's another touch point. That's a touch of love from our volunteers. They put a lot of their personality and their love into it to let the kids know not only are we feeding them, but we're thinking of them. They're in our hearts.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing too.
Make puppets out of those bags. That'd be fun. Have a little puppet show.
Yep.
You brought up snow days.
Yes.
I mean, I know there was some emergency implementation going on with different companies and organizations in town. What happens on one of these snow days when these kids don't get their breakfast or lunch that's taken care of through the schools?
Well, last week was a huge learning lesson
Oh,
for
yes.
us.
Yeah.
And prior to Kids Food Basket, I don't know that we were, we were thinking about the kids
Sure.
and, missing them as we did.
But we
weren't thinking about how could we possibly get food to them. So Kids Food Basket really closed a gap last week as well.
And before that, it'd be 1 or 2 days. So it was something, we never want to put our volunteers also in harm's way if it's that bad out. But when we have that many days, some kids even had that prior Friday or Thursday off. I think collectively working with the schools, we're all trying to come up with an emergency plan.
Yeah.
We had amazing West Michigan community reach out. People were hitting our Facebook page, messaging us, calling us, wanting to come in during a snow day and helping us get the food out. So, I think we have a clear understanding. A great story that you told us about the bus drivers.
Our bus drivers, overnight we organized a food distribution, and we had several of our bus drivers and staff and even some community members who came in and volunteered their time on Friday to deliver and serve meals to people, and we were able to, through that, serve 350 of those dinner packs.
That's
in addition to tons of fresh fruits and vegetables. But the cool thing is that our bus drivers know where everybody lives.
Sure.
So our bus drivers know the families who might not be reaching out and saying they need help, but they might.
Yeah.
And so they were able to go knock on doors, and one father opened the door and they said tears in his eyes because he was so grateful that they thought of his family and his kids and brought food to them. So that was a really nice thing. But we were able to go to Quail Meadows. One of our parents actually that lives in there was able to go door to door and tell the neighbors in the community that we were going to be there at this time. So we were there with food and we could distribute that to kids at that time. So it was a special thing. And again, it goes back to Orchard View and the fact that the staff is so amazing that on their snow day, bus drivers, secretaries, parents, other community members are just there to help and to support kids.
It's a great thing.
And in addition to Orchard View contacting us and us working together, we worked with the Muskegon Heights schools, but also Boys and Girls Club reached out to us. And Friday, you were there to see some of it. They had more than 10 volunteers come in, and just like a normal Kids Food Basket volunteer, they went up in the kitchen, helped make sandwiches. They also knew where our Nelson students lived, and so they used their van, and it was a beautiful collaboration. Just seeing all the partnerships and collaborations going on throughout the week in Muskegon County to get food to our kids. It was amazing.
And you can say partnerships and collaborations and all this other stuff. To me, it's just what we should do.
Yep.
It's our community coming together, and to think that they rally around the Kids Food Basket and our kids, that's remarkable.
But as a parent having kids home, for 5 days in a row,
they're
and you
going
open
nuts.
up the door,
Yeah.
and
An adult.
and it's
Hi.
school saying,
Right.
we care about you,
Yeah.
and we wanted to make sure you were okay.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Orchard View, it's a great school district, a lot of pride out here, and Kids Food Basket doing amazing things for everybody in the community. Next time we're going to be out at Orchard View, I think there's going to be a robotics competition. So plan on that. We'll see you out here. You guys are awesome. Kids Food Basket, thanks so much for all you guys do. Orchard View Schools, a lot of pride out here in Cardinal Country. Give you some more details about the Kids Food Basket right here on Positively Muskegon.